We're ready.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Monday, August 30th, 2019. Commissioners' Court is meeting in regular open session. Would you please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by an invocation from David Marcus.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Be seated.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Welcome to the new year of 5780. Last night and today marked the beginning of Rosh Hashanah, which means in Hebrew, the head of the year or the beginning of the year. It's a holiday that predates Christianity and the birth of Christ by over 3,000 years and is a traditional start of the traditional Jewish New Year. This Rosh Hashanah marks the beginning of the year 5780 according to the Hebrew calendar, which traditional Jews think of as a number of years since the beginning of man and the beginning of the heavens and the earth. The holiday is marked by the blowing of the shofar or the ram's horn in Jewish synagogues all over the world. It always falls on the seventh new moon of the Jewish year. In Jerusalem, during the days of the Old Temple, the shofar was heard across the countryside to call people together for prayer. It begins a 10-day period leading up to Yom Kippur. Sounding the shofar or ram's horn is a call to and a sobering reminder that the time is near for the Day of Atonement. These 10 days are ones of great introspection, soul-searching, and self-examination. The sound of the shofar for the Jew was, and still continues to be, a call to examine one's life, to make amends with all those one may have wronged in the previous year, and to ask forgiveness for any vows one may have broken. During Rosh Hashanah, a common greeting is, "May your name be be inscribed in the Book of Life. For many secular Jews, the period is an opportunity to reconnect with family members or get in touch with cultural traditions. But the theological import of the holiday and the different ways it has changed or solidified over time can tell us a lot about the development of Jewish culture and values. It's the story of a group of people for whom tension between assimilation and preserving tradition has long been a major part of our culture. We celebrate by lighting candles at home and eating a traditional Rosh Hashanah meal, which always includes apples and honey, sweet foods, to welcome the sweetness of the year ahead. We also set a table with pomegranates and a round challah bread, the circle reflecting the eternity of life. Pomegranates have a special meaning on Rosh Hashanah. It's thought that the pomegranate has 613 seeds, just as there are 613 commandments in the Torah, a set of laws given to the Jews to bring civility to people. Torah is the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible, representing essentially Jewish law. I dare any of you to go buy a pomegranate and count the seeds to see if I'm right. It is a time to celebrate family, and for my father, it was always a special celebration, as he not only was celebrating the new year, but he was celebrating a freedom from the rampant anti-Semitism he grew up with in Romania. For him, freedom had a meaning few people today could ever understand. With that, I wish you Leshana Tova, or a good year. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for sharing. The Jewish traditions and customs are so much a part of our own community, so thank you for that. Really appreciate it. Thank you. And welcome. What a nice audience. Thank you for being here, and we hope you all had a great weekend in this beautiful weather. Still remembering our victims, but sort of moving ahead, and the resolutions sort of show how we do that in El Paso. You know, we mourn, but we keep moving forward and do great things as we're going towards the future. So thank you for being here, and thank you for participating in our government. Thank you. Caesar?
Item number 4 is the consent agenda composed of items 4A through 4T. At the request of Commissioner Leon, we'd like to ask for item 4B and 4K be pulled for discussion. Are there any other items that members of the Court of the Public would like to discuss?
Commissioners?
Make a motion to approve the remaining items.
Second?
Commissioner Perez.
Aye.
Commissioner Leon.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout. Commissioner Robinson. Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion carries.
When do you like to just
Whenever it's convenient.
convene for? Okay, we'll just do it with the rest of the regular items. Okay, thank you.
Item number 5A, resolutions. Approve and adopt a resolution recognizing October 2019 as Down Syndrome Awareness Month in El Paso County, Texas.
Good morning. I know we have some guests from the coalition. It gives me a tremendous amount of pride to be able to read this into the record. Whereas one in 700 babies born in the United States is born with Down syndrome, and whereas El Paso County has the highest rate of Down syndrome in the state of Texas, and whereas people with Down syndrome are active participants in educational, occupational, social, and recreational circles of the community, and whereas the Down Syndrome Coalition for El Paso and El Paso Community College will join over 1,200 other El Pasoans to celebrate, promote acceptance and inclusion, and raise funds for the Down Syndrome Coalition for El Paso, EPCC scholarships for students with disabilities, and the National Down Syndrome Society. And whereas the 10th Annual Down Syndrome Coalition for El Paso Buddy Walk and Fun Run will circle the EPCC Valle Verde campus on Saturday, October 6th, and bring together individuals, families, and agencies to raise awareness. And now therefore be it resolved that El Paso County Commissioners Court recognizes September 2019 as Down Syndrome Awareness Month. Signed this 30th day of September 2019 with honorable members of the Commissioners Court.
Second.
We're just going to vote real fast.
Thank you.
Commissioner
What an
Perez.
honor to be
Aye.
here. Thank you.
Commissioner Leon.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson. Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion carries.
The floor is yours.
We want to thank the commissioners for the invitation to be here and the honor with the resolution. October is an important month for us with the Down Syndrome Coalition and Community of El Paso, and we'll be kicking off this week, and we hope to see some of you out at the Buddy Walk at Valle Verde EPCC campus. It's an important month for us, and thank you for having us.
Did the little one want to say a few words?
Aye.
Thank you, Dennis.
This is my daughter. She's 11, and she
What's her name?
Kira Castañeda.
Oh.
And I'm with the board with the Down
Hi,
syndrome.
Kira.
Thank you so much for having
Well,
us
I
here.
was there last year, and I was very, very impressed. Just the camaraderie, everybody sort of, just having fun and rallying, and it was really nice. And so,
And this
yes,
Saturday.
yes, yeah,
Thank
I'll
you
I'll
so
be there,
much.
and hopefully the other commissioners as well. But thank you so much for coming
Say
today.
hi. Say bye.
Commissioner Robinson?
Judge, all those in attendance, I just like to add a note. There's a young man who has Down syndrome who's going to an international swimming competition in Australia, and he's the only person from the state of Texas that will be competing in this competition.
Caesar?
Item number 5B, approve and adopt a resolution declaring the month of October as League of Women Voters of El Paso 100-year month in El Paso County, Texas.
Good morning. I have the honor of reading this resolution. We have a number of the members of the League of Women Voters here joining us. Happy to see them. I think these are some of the most active women that I've seen in this community. They're everywhere, registering people to vote, making sure people understand what's going on. And I really appreciate what you all do, and I'm happy to and honored to be able to read this resolution for you. So, whereas the League of Women Voters of El Paso was established in 1919 by a group of civic-minded suffragists led by Ruth Auger to promote women's rights and to promote the passage of the 19th Amendment, which gave women universal suffrage in 1920. And whereas the League of Women Voters of El Paso is only one of 5 leagues in the state of Texas that is celebrating its 100th anniversary and predates the passage of the 19th Amendment by 1 year. And whereas the League of Women Voters of El Paso is a nonpartisan organization that works on vital issues of concern to its members and the public, which is reflective of its mission, empowering voters, defending democracy. And whereas the League of Women Voters of El Paso, working with the Leagues of Women Voters of Texas and the United States, has a long history of advocating for the rights of all voters and supports every citizen's right to vote, uniformly enforced election procedures, clearly stated election laws that facilitate voter engagement and turnout, and improving transparency and public input in the redistricting process. And whereas the League of Women Voters of El Paso supports adequate funding for basic health care, including mental health services for those unable to pay, the League also advocates for the protection of privacy for women and families' health choices, with access to comprehensive health services and medically accurate health education. And whereas the League of Women Voters of El Paso supports and promotes adequate state funding for public schools to ensure that all school children receive a high-quality education. And whereas the League of Women Voters of El Paso also supports and promotes issues such as fair and just immigration policies, fair campaign finance laws, adequate and fair funding for public education and transportation, protection against unreasonable foreclosure on homesteads, transparency and public participation in government, regulation of payday and auto title loan business for consumer protection, city and county authority to better manage urban growth, early childhood education, professional development, and access to high-quality childcare and high-quality pre-kindergarten. And whereas in October 2019, the League of Women Voters of El Paso is celebrating its 100th year anniversary of serving the El Paso community. Now therefore be it resolved by the El Paso County Judge and Commissioners Court that we honor and celebrate the women who have supported and dedicated themselves to the County of El Paso for the 100 years and declare October 2019 as League of Women Voters of El Paso 100-year month. Signed this 30th day of September 2019, the Honorable County Commissioners Court.
Second.
Commissioner Pettis.
Aye.
Commissioner Leon.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion carries.
So Ms. Wallace, can you, the floor is yours, but please make sure everybody introduces themselves as well. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Carol Wallace, and I'm the current president of the League of Women Voters of El Paso. Very honored to be in front of this court today, and thank you for this great honor. The League of Women Voters in El Paso predates by 1 year the passage of the 19th Amendment, which will be in 2020. We are very proud, and we're having our 100th anniversary this year. And we will be on October the 19th at the Wyndham, and we've placed an invitation. It is a fundraiser for the League, and we appreciate your support. We also would like to recognize Commissioner Robinson. He is a past president of the League of Women Voters. So even though it says League of Women Voters, we recognize men into our organizations. We recognize everyone. We are an advocacy group, and I will pass it on to my fellow leaguers. The rest could not be here this morning because a lot of them work, but thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Pat White, and I'm the treasurer of the local league.
I'm Betty Ann Halliburton, past chairperson of the Neighborhood Coalition, newest member of the El Paso League of Women Voters.
Thank you.
Judy Ackerman, thanks for supporting that league.
Thank you.
My name is Frances Bernal, and I'm a board member of the league.
Thank you. Well, thank you for being here. And I remember the scary feeling as a candidate when you invite us to hold us accountable. But we thank you for it. Allows us to talk what we're going to do, and then you're still around to see if we've done it. And so thank you for doing that and holding the elected officials accountable as it should be. So thank you for everything that you do, and congratulations on the 100 years. Thank you.
Judge, can I add a little note to that?
Absolutely.
Well, first of all, Miss Pat White, she's from the White House. Y'all didn't get that?
Yeah.
When you call Miss Pat White's phone, on the answer machine, it has a voice. The gentleman comes on and says, "This is Pat White from the White House." I said, "Well, can I speak to the president?" But as indicated, it said League of Women Voters, but men can join as well. I've been a member for a number of years, and as they indicated, I'm a past president of the organization. So men, don't be afraid to join the women. Thank you guys, all you do.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Item number 5C, approve and adopt a resolution recognizing October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month and the Center Against Sexual and Family Violence for their efforts in combating sexual and family violence.
Commissioners and Judge, I also have the honor of reading this resolution. Thank you all very much. We have some folks here from the Center Against Sexual and Family Violence. I'll go ahead and read the resolution, and then we will hear from you all. Thank you for being here. Whereas domestic violence violates an individual's privacy, dignity, security, and humanity through the systematic use of physical, emotional, sexual, psychological, and economic control and or abuse. And whereas domestic violence is not influenced by the boundaries of age, race, class, culture, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, and immigration status, and thus people who identify as members of oppressed or marginalized communities experience greater rates of domestic violence. And whereas the problems of domestic violence are not confined to any group or groups of people, but cut across all economic, racial, and societal barriers, and are exacerbated by societal indifference. And whereas the impact of domestic violence is wide-ranging, affecting individuals and society as a whole here in this community, throughout the United States and the world. And whereas in 2019, the Center Against Sexual and Family Violence received 5,861 calls on the Crisis Hope Line, provided shelter to 806 individuals, advocated for safety and justice for an additional 3,125 women, men, and children in El Paso. And whereas survivors of domestic violence themselves have been at the forefront of efforts to bring peace and equality to their homes and our community. Now therefore be it resolved by the El Paso County Judge and Commissioners Court that the month of October be declared Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and urge all citizens to actively participate in the scheduled activities and programs that work toward improving victim safety and holding perpetrators of domestic abuse accountable for their actions against individual victims and our society as a whole. Signed this 30th day of September 2019, the Honorable County Commissioners Court.
Second.
Commissioner Perez.
Aye.
Commissioner Leon.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioner, and members of the court, and Judge Semiango. I'm David Scher, the Executive Director of the Center Against Sexual and Family Violence, and we really want to thank you for your work in helping us to recognize Domestic Violence Awareness Month. There's about 29,000 phone calls a year just to El Paso City Police Department for domestic violence. It's about an average of almost every 20 minutes that someone finally got the courage to pick up the phone and call and report it. We mentioned the number of people that we help every year, both at our shelter and our Family Resource Center, over almost 4,000 people a year, and over half of those are children. When we think about the impact of domestic violence on women, on men, but also we want to really focus this year on the impact on children. Nationally, over 15 million children are impacted by domestic violence every year, and a high percentage of those children will go on to experience domestic violence as an adult. So we want to make sure that we're working really hard, not just with our normal services, but also what we do with children, both at our shelter and through resources that we provide throughout the year, including curriculum-based programs for after school. We have tutoring programs to help students. We just had our first summer camp program where students who actually got to go and spend a week at camp, many of them the first time they'd ever been outside the city of El Paso. So we're very proud of some new work that we're doing in that area as well. But we really want to work on breaking the cycle. And I think it's that response piece of having the shelter where people can go, but also what are we doing throughout the year to help prevent domestic violence, to help prevent sexual assault as well. So through our prevention and intervention programs, we're seeing great results in our recidivism rates as well, and through those programs. We're also doing a lot of work, and with your help today, in recognizing, raising awareness of domestic violence. And we're proud that later this week we'll be hosting one of our first forums on Leading with Hope. We'll have Congresswoman Escobar, State Representative Joe Moody, our County Attorney Joanne Bernal is also on our board, District Attorney Jaime Esparza, and our Director of Client Services, Sandra Garcia, for doing a panel and talking about some of the successes that we've experienced at the federal, state, and local level, but also some of the challenges that we must overcome. So we thank you for your continued support on this and throughout the year and the 42 years that we've been providing services in El Paso. We really appreciate your help, your efforts and help today to help raise awareness of this important issue.
Gentlemen, would you like to say anything? No?
No. Hello, just Cesar Campa with the Center Against Sexual Family Violence.
Thank you.
Adrian Escobedo from our Children's Services.
Well, you have an amazing panel, the people you mentioned, and thank you. You know, Paso is in a lot of need for prevention. You know, as you know, prevention is one of the most difficult things to accomplish because, you know, you just can't prove that there's a problem at that point. But thank you for doing that, and also for the children. They're our future, and we need so much to happen at that beginning stages so that we could prevent things in the future. So thank you for everything that you do, and thank you for including the children as part of your outreach program. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Judge, I have a question.
Commissioner Robinson?
How many individuals that you accommodate at your shelters?
It's over half. So over 4,000 last year, probably about 2,200 or so.
On any given day, how many people would you have?
At the shelter this past Friday, we had 131 shelter residents, and at the shelter, there were probably about 60 children. That's just shelter. We also have a transitional living housing arrangement where people can live, families can live for up to 2 years at no cost. As part of one of the families that just got new housing for the first time on their own, it was a family of a parent with 5 children. There were 5 children that we helped to process, and now they're going to have their own home for the first time.
Well, I just want you to highlight that because one, that you house the people, but at the same time they have to eat. And I've been a supporter of your organization through our food drive that we conduct to help support you in that effort.
Yes, it is the 3 meals a day and 2 on the weekends and snacks throughout the day. So one thing we know that the children do like to eat, and it's actually a good therapy thing for them to be able to have some food, and helps reduce the stress and make them feel like they're home. And we have popcorn nights and movie nights at the shelter as well. And so things that they can do as families to begin moving past that terrific or horrific toxic situations they were in.
Keep up the good work you do.
Thank you very much, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Item number 5D, approve and adopt a resolution declaring the month of November 2019 as El Paso County Employees Combined Charities Campaign Month in El Paso County, Texas.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. It's my privilege and honor to recite the resolution. Whereas the El Paso County Employees Combined Charities Campaign affords county employees the opportunity to demonstrate their generosity and commitment to the other human beings, and whereas the El Paso Combined Charities Campaign raises funds to help those in need, the hungry, the sick, the less fortunate, families in crisis, and other worthwhile causes. And whereas the El Paso Combined Charities Campaign has raised through the generosity of county employees over $941,879 since its inception in 1994, and whereas the El Paso Combined Charities Campaign set a fundraising goal of $50,000 for the year of 2019. And now therefore be it resolved by the El Paso County Judge and Commissioners Court that October 2019 be known as El Paso County Employees Combined Charities Campaign Month, and encourage all employees to continue to demonstrate their commitment and generosity to care enough to share. Signed this 30th day of September 2019.
Second.
Commissioner Perez.
Aye.
Commissioner Leon.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Good morning, Honorable Judge Samaniego and Commissioners. Valeria Fernandez with the Human Resources Department. Thank you for adopting this resolution and supporting the Employees Combined Charities campaign. We are very excited to partner with United Way on this great campaign that allows employees to make an impact to a charitable cause of their choice. We would also like to thank our wonderful committee, County Clerk Delia Briones, Celeste Varela, Josie Castro, and Janet Sanchez. This is the first year that the county is incorporating the charities campaign into the open enrollment system. This means that as employees utilize the online enrollment system to renew their benefits for 2020, they will be able to fill out and submit their contributions electronically. Employees can pledge a one-time payroll deduction or elect a recurring payroll deduction for the 2020 calendar year. Those employees who would like to donate cash or check may also do so. HR can arrange to pick up contributions from departments, or they may forward them to our office. As mentioned in the resolution, our goal is to raise $50,000 this year. The deadline to submit donations to HR is October 31st. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Kimberly Quintanilla from United Way.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners.
Hey, Kimberly.
It's my privilege to stand here in front of you and ask you to really take that philanthropic journey with us and with all of your county employees, making sure we encourage them and motivate them and inspire them to continue to give locally and to inspire everyone else inside the community to know the amazing impact you guys are all making as a united team. I'm Kimberly from United Way, and I'll be your local campaign manager, so if at any point you have questions, need anything, I'm always here for moral support and being your biggest fan.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Jeanette Sanchez from HR. I just will help with the campaign with Kimberly, and if, like Valeria said, anybody would like to donate on cash or check, I'll be more than happy to go and collect those donations, or if they want to do it through their open enrollment, we'll be there to assist as well. Thank you.
Well, thank you. United Way, always a great partner. I love your smile. It's almost lighting up the room here. So I'm sure there's no doubt in my mind. We have incredible county employees. We saw that when the refugees, when we were asking for volunteers. And so I know that you'll do a great job. And I think that partnership with United Way will be amazing. So thank HR, United Way. Thank you for the partnership. And those of you that are listening to us, I hope you do contribute to the charities and, wish you the best going forward. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One, two.
Ms. Sanchez, I wanted to ask if we could make a correction to that item. The month that was on the agenda was November, and it should be corrected to October. Would it be appropriate to ask for a correction on that?
Yes, it's fine. As long as it's on the record.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 5E, approve and adopt a resolution declaring the month of October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month in El Paso County, Texas.
What a great honor as well. If you could step up. Hi. Thank you for being here, and I'll read the resolution. Whereas in 2019, invasive breast cancer will be diagnosed in about 268,600 women and 2,670 men in the U.S.,
This year alone, an estimated 18,750 Texas women will be diagnosed with breast cancer, and about 2,980 will die of the disease. Men are generally at low risk for developing breast cancer. However, they should report any change in their breast to a physician. And whereas excluding cancers of the skin, breast cancer is the most common cancer among U.S. women, accounting for 30% of newly diagnosed cancers. Death rates from breast cancer have been declining, and this change is believed to be the result of earlier detection and improved treatment. And whereas breast self-awareness, clinical breast examinations, and mammographies are recognized as the most effective methods of detecting breast cancer at an early treatable stage, women who are 50 or over should have a mammogram every 2 years, or they may also choose to get them more often. And whereas Medicare Part B helps pay the cost of a yearly mammogram for women age 40 or older, and women with Medicare between 35 and 39 can get one baseline mammogram. Now, therefore, be it resolved, in recognition of the important life-saving early detection practices available for breast cancer, that the El Paso County Judge and Commissioners Court do hereby declare the month of October 2019 as Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and further encourage and urge all women to become aware that they are at risk and consult with their physicians to obtain appropriate screenings to help with early detection, and to contact the Cancer and Chronic Disease Consortium to learn more about resources for breast cancer. By educating ourselves and working together, we will improve our ability to prevent, detect, treat, and ultimately cure breast cancer. Signed this 30th day of September 2019.
Second.
Commissioner Perez.
Aye.
Commissioner Leon.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Well, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Honorable Judge Samaniego, as well as fellow commissioners. For those of you who may know, I'm the Executive Director of the Rio Grande Council of Governments, but I also have the very good fortune of serving as a president for the Cancer and Chronic Disease Consortium. And today I have with me are some fellow breast cancer survivors, staff members from the consortium, fellow board member Candy McCann, as well as our co-executive directors who do so much of the work and do such good efforts for our community, who include Adriana Valdez and Pat Morales in the back there. So if I can just say a few items just to note for the public, because it's such an important initiative for everyone to be aware of. Much like Judge Samaniego mentioned, breast cancer is the most common cancer in American women. 1 out of 8 women in the U.S. will be diagnosed with this disease over the course of their lifetime. On average, every 2 minutes, women are diagnosed with breast cancer, and one woman will die of breast cancer every 13 minutes. Currently, there is not sufficient knowledge on the causes of breast cancer, so therefore early detection remains the keystone of breast cancer control. The consortium, just a little bit about the organization, is a nonprofit. We have been in existence for 30 years, and it's our mission to help reduce the cancer burden in our community through early detection and support services. During Breast Cancer Awareness Month and throughout the year, our activities are oriented to defeat cancer through education, screening, empowering people to become proactive in preventing breast cancer, and if diagnosed, surviving the disease. During this annual campaign, we aim to get as many people as possible involved in early detection activities. And as partners in the fight against breast cancer, October is the favorite month of the year for our organization. We have titled The Power of the Pink Ribbon, which offers this amazing opportunity to raise awareness of the disease and send a powerful message to women in our community about mammography as the most effective method to detect breast cancer early. It's very simple, and we all can get involved in this campaign by calling the doctor's office to schedule an annual checkup, getting a mammogram, and if you already did, talk to other women who are overdue for their mammogram and persuade them to get screened. What's most important for this, for us today, is that if there's any women who are watching who don't know how to navigate the healthcare system and are in need of a mammogram, or if they know someone who is in need but is worried about the cost, we would encourage you and implore you to contact our organization and learn more about our breast and cervical cancer control service program. We've had this program, it's been in existence since 1991, and we have had the privilege of delivering more than 71,000 breast and cervical cancer screening and navigation services to low-income, uninsured women in our community. And last, to round out our recognition for this organization, we would invite all of you to attend our annual Pink Wreath ceremony, which will be October 23rd at the auditorium in the auditorium at the El Paso Community College Administrative Office. And at this activity, we'll get to hear guest speakers talk about their about important lifestyle behaviors to live longer with better quality of life after cancer treatment. So thank you again. We appreciate the recognition, and I just wanted to thank all of these women, these breast cancer survivors. I think that no one will know the journey that they go through. And so I want to tell them that I thank them for being such survivors and empowering the rest of the community to be stronger in every day of their lives. So thank you, ladies.
Anybody else? You're very welcome.
We'll introduce ourselves.
Okay, that'd be perfect.
I'm Candy McCann, and I'm the treasurer for the Cancer Consortium.
Thank you.
Adriana Valdez, co-director of health promotion at the Cancer and Chronic Disease Consortium.
Elisa Salinas, bookkeeper of Cancer and Chronic Disease Consortium.
Cisneros, Cancer and Chronic Disease Consortium.
Thank you.
I'm Pat Morales. I'm the other co-executive director to the organization.
Thank you.
Morning, Luis Loya, caseworker.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Morning, my name is Alma Calderon and I'm survivor.
Thank you.
Buenos días. Mi nombre es Luz Elena Abasta y soy sobreviviente de cáncer.
Buenos días.
Hi, good morning. My name is Cecilia Jurado, and I have 4 years of cancer survivor.
Thank you.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Soledad Juárez y soy sobreviviente de cáncer por 11 años.
Buenos días.
Buenos días, Alma Rodríguez, soy sobreviviente 6 años.
Thank you.
Muy buenos días, mi nombre es Gloria Aro, soy sobreviviente por casi 9 años. Gracias.
Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Iran Rios, and I have 6 years as survivor.
Thank you. Got everybody? Well, to the staff, thank you for everything that you do. It's amazing, this awareness, and you must feel incredibly good when you know that by detecting that you save a life and the crisis that goes with it and the impact it has on the family. So thank you for everything you do. For the survivors, thank you for your courage and thank you for being able to share your stories. I think that's probably what has the most impact, is to hear it from someone else. What you went through and helping for this early detection. El Paso's really stepping up in health and prevention, and this is another part that you've already seen the traction of the survivors and obviously of detecting at an early stage. So thank you for all you do. Thank you for everything you do for El Paso and for the families. I'm sure they too are very thankful for helping. Thank you.
Also good.
That was a video, not a. Keep up the great work. Thank you.
Item number 6 is public comment. We have one guest signed up to speak today. We have Mr. Pierre Andre Usarraga.
Morning.
Good morning.
Tap. Tapsters. Good morning to my tapsters. Your Honor, I just celebrated my 6th anniversary coming up here. It was actually on my birthday, September 10th. And I've seen a lot in these 6 years. I've grown a lot. My filing cabinet at my home office was maybe yay big, but now it's probably the size of this desk. From all the notes I've been taking and reviewing and rewriting. And I come up here continuously to urge Democrats who right now are like this. And if you're a Democrat and I offend you, hey, you're victimizing yourself. You're victimizing your wife, your kids, your grandkids. Because we're in this multi-party system. We have Pelosi, number 3, going after number 2 and number 1. And that's bad politically when it comes to international relationships. And that funnels down, Your Honor, from the federal level to the state level to the county levels to the city levels. And Democrats are victimizing yourselves. Republicans are no different. No different. And, you know, our current president was actually going to run in a third-party campaign. I don't know if you knew that, the Reform Party, which was founded by Ross Perot. But he was, you know, he's a businessman. He wants to win. He needs to get things done in order to win. I've been coming up here for cannabis legalization, and El Paso is yet to win. We had a county commissioner who was convicted of trafficking marijuana from here to Chicago, and we still have not addressed that issue, which is cannabis. I would take that seriously, Your Honor. And you introduced me to a Colorado cannabis farmer. And when he and I started speaking, our conversation could only go so far because our conversation will get to the point where we'll ask, well, what are we going to do about this commissioner or this president or that candidate? Well, this one's a Democrat, this one's a Republican. This one understands family systems, this one does not, so this one's going to try and destroy your family. They're going to continue to use the race card. And El Paso is Chicanos. We're brown. This is brown America. Everywhere else is black America and white America. But here along the frontera is Chicanos. And I don't mean any disrespect. When you speak Spanish, it feels different. And some people like that feeling. And we need to leverage that. Cannabis and Chicanos and El Paso go hand in hand. I've served all my time here, Your Honor. Halfway houses on Montana, the annex, across the street, probation officers, the whole shebang. And that's why I'm confident when I see myself sitting at the executive level, because I know I know the justice system. I know how attorneys fight each other. I've seen Your Honors do things they don't want to do, but because laws, legislation, the policy tell that man or that woman to do certain things. But when it comes to the moral ground, when it comes to the ethical concerns and questions, we ignore it because we just want to get the job done. But with 7 promises that I plan to instill, again, from experience in this building with judges, police, law enforcement, CEOs, if you will, and CEOs specifically.
30 seconds.
Thank you. I'm confident that we can rearrange ourselves. The FDA, how does the government create an administration where it's the Food and the Drug Administration? Foods and drugs, by definition, are completely different. So that's something I wish to address, and Your Honor, I'm still waiting. Let's see, I'm hoping El Paso, Texas, we can come together and attack America as Americans, not as Democrats and as Republicans. So my time winding down, thank you for your ears. I hope you reach out to me so that I can show you what I have, and I can get my daughter Riley back, head to the White House, live my dream, and get out of here. Maybe 8 years and that's it. No 6, no 10. I don't want to come up here for 20 years. I want to get up in there, legalize, so that I can bring business. $320 million in taxes alone is what I'm talking about. Every month. Whereas right now we're in a deficit, Your Honor, and you're a businessman. Deficits are no-nos in business, and they should be huge no-nos in government. We should talk about positives.
Thank you. Appreciate your time. Thank you, sir.
Your Honor.
Thank you.
I know you'll do what's right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 7A from presentations. Receive a presentation recognizing the contributions made by individuals and organizations that made the 9th Annual Employee Appreciation Picnic possible.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning,
Melissa
Melissa.
Carrillo with Human Resources. I'm going to raise this up just a bit. So this morning I have the esteemed pleasure of being able to open up the presentation where we thank so many of the individuals and those organizations that helped to make our Employee Appreciation Picnic a great success. On Saturday, September 21st, the county hosted its 9th Annual Employee Appreciation Picnic. I remember when this was just an idea so many years ago. I remember our very first picnic, and we've come so far from those days. But the generosity of those who continue to donate and support this great cause still grows strong today. I want to remember why we even do this, right? Our county employees work extremely hard, and that is why we do this. It's a very small token of our appreciation to say thank you to those who work hard each and every day to keep this great organization up and running. Before I turn it over to my team who has a short video and a small presentation for you, I want to personally thank the department heads, our elected officials, the El Paso County Sports Commission, and the Sheriff's Officers Association for their great donations to this event. Because of those donations, we do not spend any county funding on this event. Rather, those donations is what makes it a great success. So thank you very much to all of your support. We appreciate it. Additionally, I really want to thank my HR department, along with the work that they do with IT, parks, and facilities to make this great event possible. They plan this event in between the many fires that we're all working on, and they do it with such passion for those that we serve. I especially want to thank Ms. Janet Sanchez, my training team of one. Not only does she work hard at leading and coordinating this event, but she coordinates many county special events for those employees, and she really does it with this fire and passion to make it the best party and picnic and event possible for those employees. So we couldn't do it unless we did it together. I thank her for her leadership, and again, I thank you all for your support. So we're going to turn it over to IT, who has a short video for you all, and then a short presentation will follow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, IT, for putting that together. Michelle Cochran with the Human Resources Department with the short presentation and award presentation this morning for our picnic. So as Melissa mentioned, this is our 9th year hosting this wonderful event for all of the dedication and hard work that our county employees put into our organization day in and day out. Funding for the event is provided by the El Paso Sports Commission, the El Paso County Sheriff Officers Association, and donations from department heads and elected officials. We are excited to report that we had a record RSVP and attendance rate this year. We had 59% of RSVPs attend for a total of 1,250 attendees at our picnic this year. So it was an awesome participation rate. Despite the weather, we did not let that affect us. We were out there in the rain. The Sports Commission sponsored the wonderful food, drinks, and ice, as well as event staff for our event this year. And all of the donations we spent on the inflatables, the tents and chairs, our DJ, our referees for our sporting events, snacks and raffle items that we've given to employees, games, and the tablecloths that we need for the tables that are there. The monetary donations this year, we want to recognize our elected officials and department heads who donated. Constable Louis Aguilar, County Clerk Delia Briones, Judge Rebecca Bustamante, Judge Patricia Chu, District Clerk Norma Favela Barcelou, Tax Assessor Collector Ruben P. Gonzalez, Commissioner Carlos Leon, Judge Maria Salas Mendoza, Commissioner Vincent Perez, Judge Jesus M. Rodriguez, Commissioner David Stout, County Judge Ricardo Samaniego, Sheriff Richard Wiles. Our department heads, Deborah Carejo, Melissa Carrillo, Edward Dion, Wally Hardgrove, Betsy Keller, Veronica Myers, Dr. Mario Rascon, Norma Rivero Palacios, Brian Stanley, Robin Sully, and Irene Valenzuela. We'd like to give a special thank you to our premium sponsors this year who donated more than $300 individually for the event. Judge Linda Chu, Chief Roger Martinez, Commissioner Carl Robinson, and the El Paso County Sheriff's Officers Association. This year, our raffle prizes were contributed by multiple vendors from the El Paso community. Our contracted vendors Hub and TEB Benefits Group donated to us. Chili's Grill and Bar, Chewy's Tex-Mex, Cattleman's Steakhouse, Destination El Paso, Hair FX Studio, Kendra Scott, Peter Piper Pizza, Top Golf, the County of El Paso. We purchase items with the donations from our department heads and elected officials, and LNF Distribution donated water to our event this year as well. The picnic committee consists of your employees from our HR department, Janet Sanchez, who's our chair, Janice Cahill, Ruby Munoz, and Lorena Rodriguez. From our Parks and Recreation department, Tessa Jimenez, and from our county administration office, Ramon Bracamontes. This year's events and activities included volleyball, the famous tug-of-war competition, our golf and basketball. We did cancel flag football this year due to the weather. At that point in the day, the ground was pretty soggy, and we didn't want to let anybody get injured. So next year, football teams come prepared. We had our swimming pools that were packed this year, and jumping balloons and game centers for the kids that we do each and every year. So at this time, we would like to present the winners of the competition with their trophies. Our golf tournament was won by Desert Heat from the HR department. No. You don't, but if you want to wait for a second so we can get a picture. Our volleyball winners were from the county clerk's office, the Fireballers. You want to wait a second? So could get a picture. I like your shirt.
It's the fireballs, not the
Oh, I'm
fireballs.
sorry. Correction, the fireballs. Our basketball tournament was won by County Court at Law Number 1 and Criminal Justice Coordination, Earth, Wind, and Fire. And our tug of war competition was won by the County Admin Avengers from County Administration. If we could get all the winners to center in front of the dais and court, if we could get a picture of you all with them. Congratulations to our winners. Thank you for participating.
Just wanted to say a few words real quick. You know, as an ex-HR professional, I've been to a lot of picnics, and I think this is one of the best that I've seen. Just the enjoyment, participation, the organization. You guys in HR did a tremendous job, and everybody from the county just really had a lot of fun. That tug of war, you're gonna have to patent it and put it in some series or show or something. But it was a great time. Thank you so much for doing that.
Thank you so much, Judge. And if I may, we just have a few special people we want to thank that are here today as well. Winners, you could go ahead and have a seat. The El Paso Sports Commission, Brian Kennedy, Omar Ropel, and staff, the Picnic Committee, the HR Department, Parks and Recreation, specifically Celeste Porras, Dominic Reyes, Steve Luetta, Omar Flores, and all of the pool staff who worked and lifeguarded for the pools that day. Our ITD department, Alexis Ortiz, was out there taking all the pictures we saw in the video. Hopeton Staple from the Fleet Department, and finally Rudy's Texas Barbecue and staff. Thank you all once again. We're gonna have them shake your hand. This is our committee and everybody who made it
Very
possible
well done.
today.
Item number 7B, receive a presentation from the county's financial advisor regarding current market conditions and the county's long-term debt portfolio.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. I'm Brad Angst, Director with Stiefel. That's first time I've said that over this past weekend. It is, but I'm glad I was able to be here and talk with you all first. This past weekend, George K. Baum and Company completed an acquisition by Stiefel Nicholas and Company. They are, and I'll have some slides here in a few minutes at the end of the presentation, but do want to let you know up front that our team is still together. My management, my support, and analysts that help me work with the county are all intact, and we're excited about the change and moving forward. This is a good company that's in many ways aligned with George K. Baum and Company, so looking forward to the future with them. Okay, so I wanted to take you through your debt portfolio as we do here on a quarterly basis with you. I'll let you know of opportunities to refinance in the market, as well as just give you a outlook on what we're seeing here. So as always, what's important to us as we review opportunities and the ability for you to be able to finance your projects, it's based on your tax base and your assessed valuation. This past year, the assessed valuation came in at $42 billion, which was a 5% growth, a little stronger than years past, coming in at that 5.1 compared to a 1 to 3% average that we've seen over the past several years. There was a decline in your total tax rate that will be applied. And what I'm focused on primarily is the INS rate, the interest in sinking fund rate, which is used to repay your debt obligations. But we also looked at that total tax rate to make sure that we can help you maintain a level tax rate for your taxpayers as they look to pay their property taxes each year. We have your top 10 taxpayers there in the top right, some familiar names, and then some of the top employers here in the county. These are all important items as we work with your credit rating agencies to maintain as high of a credit rating as we can for the county in conjunction with your staff as we go through those bond issuances. And that, of course, translates directly to your borrowing cost and how much in interest cost you will pay moving forward. Okay, this is a look at your debt portfolio. This is a list of each debt obligation, whether it be a certificate of obligation, a general obligation bond, or other types of certificates or obligations that the county is responsible for paying. These were all originally issued for your capital projects throughout the county. In reviewing this, you continue to have good aggressive pay down, paying off approximately $12 million each year in principal. And as you pay that off, it also produces additional capacity so you can take on and go after those new projects that you all have identified over the years. Currently, there's not any refinancing opportunities when we reviewed the portfolio, although interest rates have been very low over the past couple months. We did work with your staff over the last several years to lock in new refinancings and long-term low interest rate structures for you. So at this time, no refinancing opportunities. And this is another look at your debt portfolio. This is your debt service that you pay in each year. And so each different section within each bar there is the different debt obligation or bond layered on top of each other to give you your total aggregate payment. And what you'll see there is we always try and maintain it level. Again, that translates to a steady tax rate for your taxpayers, but it also enables us in the future years to provide additional capacity for you as you have your projects. So while it's level here for the next few years, there's a step down occurring in 2022. And that represents, again, a chance to layer on, to go after and look to work on your next big project and be able to maintain those level tax rates. So this level debt service also translates to a level assessed valuation or tax base. If your tax base is growing and you have level debt service payments, there's actually capacity for you in that regard to be able to layer on those payments without increasing your tax rate as well. And so that's been true here at the county for the last several years as you've grown your economy and tax base here locally. I'll also point out that the last payments or the last substantial payments are in 2031. For many of the counties, you'll see debt going out 20, 30 years so that you drop off because you drop off almost completely in 2032, you really have capacity to take on some big projects should you need to or choose to. Okay, let's jump into the market and some of what the interest rates have been doing here recently. We have been at, looking at that bottom left-hand chart here first, you can see that goes back over about a year's time, and you'll see that it started coming down more and more here over the last year to where it bottomed out about a month ago. So we had some really low interest rates, and that was for a variety of reasons, but each one of those lines represents a different maturity. So we have a 5, 10, and 30 year. So those are the borrowing cost for different lengths of time that you may borrow at. But there's been about 36 straight weeks of inflows into municipal bond funds. And so that's a good measurement to show us that there's a lot of demand for municipal credits, for county-type credits, and public issuers. So 36 straight weeks is it's a very long period. So going back to December, we've had inflows. Typically, we'll see maybe 2 weeks of inflows, then a couple weeks of outflows, to where it's this ebb and flow of dollars coming and going out of the market to purchase this. So because of those inflows, there's a lot of demand for these type of bonds, for public bonds, municipal bonds that have the tax-exempt capital gain options for investors. And this has to do with the tax reform that happened at the end of 2017. So typically, or prior to that tax reform, we saw a lot of investment from commercial banks and a lot of different other investors as well, but it particularly changed the way they do business. Some of the benefits and tax advantages that they had went away as some of the corporate rate changed for them. On the other side of the equation, though, because of the limitation on state and local taxes, where you can write off your property taxes for an individual, we've seen a new interest from your retail investors that are wanting to come into the market and try and find some tax advantages through municipal bonds. So we've seen a lot of that money flowing into those municipal bond funds because of that dynamic. Again, giving us a very large demand without enough supply of bonds being issued, and it's driven down the cost of borrowing substantially. That's one reason this has occurred. I've got a little bit of change here, though. So in the last few weeks, we're starting to see it increase again. And that's what's represented there at the very end of that bottom left-hand chart. You're seeing the interest rates start to tick up. And just in 1 week's time, a couple weeks back, which I'm representing here and showing is September 13th, we saw nearly 20 to 35 basis point increase. So that represents a quarter to a third of a interest point, 1%. Some more market commentary here, talking about the municipal bond market. So recently, and why we're starting to see that uptick in interest rates, some of the supply is starting to catch up. So a lot of the cities, counties, school districts recognize that, or they put some of their facility planning in motion. They decided they wanted to get out there and go ahead and try and lock in these long-term low interest rates. So we're seeing an increase in supply these days. We're also starting to see some changes in the economy. We're seeing on a global basis economic distress. Some of the European countries and even the Asian countries are providing negative interest rates. So what that means, effectively, if you lend your money or put your money in the bank. They're going to pay you. What they're trying to do is stimulate activity. They want you spending money rather than saving it. And I had that, and let me correct myself. If you're putting money in the bank, you have to pay them to hold it. So what they're trying to do, again, is get you to use your money to stimulate economic activity. So we see a lot of that going on abroad. Here domestically, we've seen, there's been a lot of rhetoric about, is there going to be a slowdown coming? Is at that time, there's some indicators. We're seeing short-term interest rates have risen above your 10-year interest rate. So a 1 and 2 year borrowing cost has risen up to be higher than your 10-year or your longer-term interest rates. That's usually an indicator of a potential recession to come. However, some of the other indicators, such as consumer confidence and employment, still are trending very positively. So while there's been a lot of discussion about it here locally in the U.S. market, we continue to see some good positive economic signs. But if that consumer confidence starts to slip at all, we may see a little bit of a downturn. So I know that's a little bit of both sides of the equation, but we continue to monitor that. We have seen some interest rates start to tick up, especially on the short end of the yield curve. This is a look at that short end of the yield curve. The SIFMA and the 1 month, 3 month LIBOR up near the 2% mark. We saw the long end there, the 30-year LIBOR swap rise about 35 basis points. Some more commentary and highlights of that short-term market indicators. We've seen the Federal Open Market Committee start to lower their short-term borrowing rates. So the federal funds rate, we did see a reduction of that by 25 basis points at 2 different meetings now. So they've cut those short-term borrowing rates slightly. There's starting to be different opinions amongst the Fed chairs. The different chairs out there from different cities are now starting to indicate that some of them want to keep it where it is. There's a few of them that may want to lower it even more, but we think it's starting to settle in at a place and a level where they will hold it steady. Okay, this is another look at borrowing cost in the credit spreads. So the county has a AA credit rating from the ratings agencies, and this shows you if you're a AAA, what the borrowing cost is for a 30-year type bond obligation. So that's represented in the gray solid line. And then each shaded section below that represents the credit spread you have to pay if you have a rating 1 below that AAA. So AA is represented by the blue, and it's about 25 basis points that you would pay on top of the AAA, and then single A, you've got to add in about 50 basis points, and if you're a triple B, you add in about 80 basis points. Those have held pretty steady here over the last couple of years, so we're not seeing too much widening of that currently, so it's a good sign. Some more look at the borrowing cost. Looking at the right-hand side, the AAA MMD shows you on the left-hand side of that chart what it costs at 1 year versus 30 years. Relatively flat compared to what we've seen historically, but we do like to still see that rise. It is not a whole lot of added cost here to borrow for 30 years versus 20 years, so that can help out with budgets, with maintaining those tax rates, should you have projects that have a useful life of that length. Another look at the U.S. Treasury rates over the past 20 years, just to see where they stand historically. Looking at the solid blue and solid yellow lines there in the middle, those are the 20-year averages. So the squiggly lines all the way to the right-hand side represent where rates are today compared to those historical averages. So still a good time to lock in interest rates if you have those projects still below the historical averages here for the last 20 years. Okay, this slide shows what's been going on around the state of Texas with other counties. We have seen a variety of issuances here over the last few months. Looking at Cameron County, down South Texas, they issued about 40 million of certificates of obligation. We saw Lubbock County go out with some road bonds for about 5 million. And then Hayes County, they're just south of the Austin area, fast-growing area, did about 97 million of tax road bonds as well. So it's been a pretty active market out there for the Texas counties, going a variety of different ways. You'll see the type of sale in the right-hand column. Some of those are private placements, which means you usually have a one buyer, maybe it's a commercial bank, or one particular type of investor. You often see those for refundings when they're a shorter type maturity. So not that 20 to 30 year, but you'll see them on the shorter ones. Here's a look at the pricing for some of these. That Cameron County, Texas issuance, it was a 20-year deal. And you'll see down at the bottom, the 2039 maturity was a yield of about 2.54%. So really, really cheap money right now for some of these projects. This was done, I believe, before that spike, though, the recent increase in interest rates, but still very low borrowing costs for some of their projects. And then we have Fort Bend County there on the right-hand side. They also went out for a 20-year debt obligation, and it was a 2.34 yield. So that's the borrowing cost for that one particular maturity. When you blend the interest rate cost on a lot of these, it's going to get even lower because you're factoring in the full yield curve. So the 1.05 all the way to a 2.54 on Cameron County, and a 120 to a 2.34 on Fort Bend County. Okay, I've already touched on some of these market headlines, but I can go through these a little bit more. First bullet point we have here is talking about the inversion of the yield curve. Again, that's one of the bigger economic indicators that we follow. When you have your 1 and 2 year borrowing rates exceed your 10-year, it's indicating that folks are much interested in investing in the short term than longer term projects. And it can also be an indicator of potential economic downturn there. So that top right-hand table shows the changes that occurred over a week's time. Looking at the bottom row there on the 2 year, it was a 168 compared to the 10-year, about a 175. So those are about level, but if you look at the 1 year, the 179 is actually exceeding that 10-year rate. So it's really going to draw a lot of investors to invest in the short term, not the long term. Some headlines here from around the state. The state continues to be very prosperous as a whole. We're seeing sales tax revenues across the state break records. And that's true here in the El Paso market as well. The county doesn't collect these, but we wanted to show that as just a sign of the economic health here in the state. The state of Texas went out and sold $8 billion of tax revenue anticipation notes this past August. That's an annual issuance that they do to help with the cash flow situation timing differences between property taxes, primarily for the school districts, when they're received in the November timeline, but they need to start working on their budgets and funding classes in August and September. That is another financial advisory client of our groups, so we help them through that each year. And they received about 1.34% on that issuance. Global headlines, as I mentioned, some of the European countries, Asian countries are struggling a little more than we are. Some of the trade tensions that I've discussed with you for the past several quarters continue with China. Those continue to give us a little bit of a spike in volatility. So we're getting that coupled with of course, the discussions and political items that happened in Washington, D.C. last week with the impeachment proceedings with the president are having a lot of volatility on the market. So what that means is we may get fluctuations from week to week, and locking in or determining what the future interest rates do is very much in flux. Also true with Brexit, the UK appointed, and they have Boris Johnson now as their new prime minister. The European Union has given them a deadline to put together a package or go back to the drawing board. So we're continuing to see that be problematic as far as the volatility concerns as well. Equity markets have done well.
Just a second, Commissioner Robinson?
Can you go back to your slide, the previous slide?
Yes, sir.
Question that I have in regards to the crisis, a growing crisis in Hong Kong with China. Do you anticipate that could have a bearing on the market as well?
I do. The market has priced in a lot of this uncertainty that's been going on globally already. I think they're well aware of it. They've been watching it. But if that were to escalate, I think it would have some potential impact on the equity markets. Traditionally, when there's that uncertainty and conflict going on, that means there's usually an exit of the equity markets and an inflow into the fixed income markets or the debt markets. So what that means potentially, if there is that discord or disruption, it could be more supply and money coming into the bond market. However, there's instances where that doesn't hold true, but that's on the macroeconomic level what happens.
Well, it seems like the crisis is going to escalate more from a standpoint, not just marching in the street. Some had indicated that there's going to be some more severe violence in regard as far as the protesters, as far as the government not want to change their stance on how the people are being governed, particularly Hong Kong. As far as you talk about one country with two different set of rules. I guess that's what they indicated. So, which means that the way I read the comment was made yesterday was that the people are going to take arms in the streets.
Yeah, it very well could lead to longer, prolonged discussions about the trade agreements that we're looking to obtain with China. Many in the industry think that China's already taking a wait-and-see approach on the upcoming elections. So there's, if there continues to be an escalating discord there in Hong Kong, I think it will slow down the China trade talks even more so.
Okay, thank you.
We have a picture there of the port of entry. That's actually from the England and Ireland border is what we want to discuss. They're having some new discussions up there, and they're talking about whether or not they want to set up a stronger border and it would slow down a lot of the trade that's going on between those countries as well. So not unlike what you have here in El Paso with some of the discussions that have continued to go on as far as the USMCA and how that affects the local economy. Equity markets overall have done fairly well here this past quarter. That on the chart on the top right, that's the volatility factor that I wanted to point out. You see some spikes there over the last month or two. Again, it relates to uncertainty and can tighten up investors and their supply of monies, at least to the equity markets and sometimes to our bond markets as well. We've talked to you and you had your representatives. I think they gave you a better update on some of these state of Texas legislative updates, but we're starting to see a lot of the budgets that have been approved now. We saw it around the state. Many of the counties, cities did decide to go ahead and go at that 8% growth one last time here before they're limited. So we've seen that around the state. School funding as well. Continues to be a discussion whether or not the state of Texas is going to be able to continue to fund at these levels based on future economic cycles. Senate Bill 12 had to do with the schools as well. And then Senate Bill 7, another one, the state funding for flood control that we're keeping an eye on that could provide some funding down to the local communities. So we'll keep you apprised on that. We've gone through some of these with you in the past. Your transportation allocation that you have with your 1 penny, your stormwater 1 penny as well. We've summarized it here. I don't have the analysis this time around, but I did want to point out what that penny relates to as far as 4.2 million approximately each year. And how much would be available for those type of projects. I'll give you an update on my new firm here. Before I go into that, I did want to point out I've been in discussions with staff about getting in front of you for maybe a workshop, going a little more in depth about the mechanics behind some of these bond issuances, how it flows through to your tax rates and your opportunities, and things to be wary of. So we'll be looking to set that up with you probably here in the winter months coming up in the fall, as late fall or winter. Yep. Okay, so I mentioned here at the beginning, Stifel Nicolaus. It's another company not based in New York City, not one of the big Wall Street type firms. They're not a commercial bank first. They're very much focused on public finance, and I guess I should be saying we are very much focused on public finance. In addition to what we had at George K. Bauman Company, it comes with a very nice wealth management platform as well. So they're in a lot of the communities providing advisory services to the local residents. So with the combined groups and the acquisition, we're now the largest public finance company in the country. It gives us a lot more resources. My team, as far as economic updates, as far as analytical support that we're going to be able to provide to you, and as well as a lot more markets. You'll see a couple of stats here regarding our team. It's 350 plus in the municipal banking, sales and trading, and 37 municipal finance offices across the country. You'll see bottom right, we're very active in the market, 660 bond issuances this past year, which ranked #1 when combined. So all that access to the market, all that daily working with investors and seeing what structures they want to invest in flows through to you. Before this meeting here today, before the county commission meeting, I was on a call that was a national call with the company. I was able to listen in to 4 different bond underwriters, and the underwriters are the ones I work with that collect that market information, and they talked about the transactions that they were working on this past week, what they have coming up. So it's a benefit for you all, and we're excited about it. So a couple of another slides here pointing out just some of the rankings and specialties that we do focus on. We are in a lot of the communities working, like El Paso. You'll see that bottom left-hand chart, all the firms that are above Stiefel and GKB are out there maybe going to the very large cities. They're going to the Los Angeleses, they're going to Denver, to New York City. And so you see a lot fewer issuances, number of issuances, but maybe a dollar value that's higher. So I just wanted to point that out. This company works as a regional firm like George K. Baum and Company did, based in the Midwest and really spread out through the communities and focused in on those regional cities like we are with El Paso, San Antonio, Austin, but we also have presence in Dallas and Houston as well. So, with that, I'll pause, see if you'd like to discuss any of these topics or if you have any questions.
Commissioners? It's just a concern on the recession, but you said you might be able to offer us some training on what happens, because we have discussed, what would happen if we did have a recession, and then what would, a reaction to that, and at least prepare for that.
Sure. So that, yeah, we should be prepared. I think we should be looking at, 5-year plans for your needs, how that flows through, and I'd be happy to. A couple new commissioners on board. Now that you're settled in, we'd love to get in front of you and do a deeper dive.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Item number 8, Auditor. Pursuant to the Texas Local Government Code, Section 113.004D, copy attached, approve the transfer of all fines and forfeitures to the general fund.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Edward Dion, County Auditor. This is a housekeeping matter. Every year we do this on the last meeting of the Commissioners Court. Because Government Code 542.402 requires that highway fines or highway violations be used for roads. It basically says that the funds should be used for constructing, maintaining roads, bridges, culverts, or enforcing, regulating the use of the highways by motor vehicles, or defraying the expense of county traffic officers. All fines that come into the county right now to the general fund approximate about $3.3 million on average. The expenditures for policing the roads as of FY19 is total $14 million. The premise for this transfer, it's allowed under local government code 113.004, and it's been, since I've been here at the county, this has been the practice. It's very tedious to try to figure out all of the fines for road violations. We would have to have the officers of the various agencies track and tell us exactly what that information is. It goes into Odyssey. My office gets a consolidated deposit to go to the financial system. I think the question came up last year, and we were not able to come up with a report at this time. We can still work with IT if you all want it. But at this point, the revenues are covering roughly 22% of the expenses for policing the roads. Therefore, it'd be my recommendation that we continue this practice of transferring the fines on road violations from the Road and Bridge Fund to the general fund as a custom and practice. Any questions? And my understanding is that the FY20 budget, you all budgeted about $4 million for road paving to the Road and Bridge Fund, mainly because of the auto sales tax has come to the general fund by statute, and that fund is getting, fund balance is going down.
Ed, by approving this, does it impact our general fund in any way?
These funds have been deposited in the general fund. This is just a ratification of the current practice. It has no effect to the general fund unless we determine how much these funds are and you decide that these funds should no longer go to the road and to the general fund. At this point, we're spending far in excess of the revenues that are collected for all fines. And there are various fines that are being collected that are non-highway related.
Okay, thank you, Ed.
If you all still want the information, though, my office can work with IT on coming up with what that number is for budget purposes.
No, I'm not looking for that. So make a motion to approve.
Second.
Before we put, I got a question in regard.
Commissioner Robinson.
So, Ed, you repeat what you said. You said that the practice was that to go to the road and bridges?
The statute says it goes to the Road and Bridge Fund for basically 3 specific purposes: for road paving, for construction of roads, bridges, and culverts, for enforcing laws regulating the highways by motor vehicles, and for defraying the expense of traffic officers. The Sheriff's Patrol Division for FY19, those expenditures currently total about $14 million. And the revenues are right now, as of last week, was about $3.1 million. So
how long have we had this practice that we put it in the road?
It's been that way forever that I know of. I've been with the county almost 36 years. We've been doing this every year that I've been here.
Go to road, you put in the road and
It's cost effective the way we're doing it right now. But like I say, we can look at trying to get that detail, but we're going to have all the agencies that are issuing tickets for these violations that come to the county. We're going to have to find a way to report that information because it's not coming into the financial system that way. It's coming into the judicial system.
Right.
And there's multiple charges. Somebody may get a ticket because their tint on the windows was too dark. Well, that's not a violation, moving violation for the highway. So we have to split out the various offenses so that we're isolating the revenue specific to violations of the highway.
You have no way of separating that, or it would be difficult?
At the moment, no, but we'll, like I say, we can work with IT. It's going to require programming. My understanding is they're getting ready to do an upgrade of the judicial system. But in any event, we can work with them on it and see what we can come up with.
I would like to see that because the thing is, we have a shortfall, or we don't put enough money into our road and bridge as it is right now, and we have a lot of needs. So I would like to see that we could have a certain amount dedicated to bring us up to date, in regard to those shortfalls that we have already.
We'll work with IT on developing some means of capturing this data and requesting that the law enforcement agencies cooperate with us to identify those offenses as they come through.
Right, because as we indicated when we were going through the budget process, we indicated, which is very, very clear, it doesn't take a rocket science to figure it out. We have not put enough money in the road and bridge as it is. Therefore, we need more money. So rather than have to go out and borrow, this would be a way to go help satisfy that need.
And if we identify, for example, it's $2.5 million that relates to road violations, that will become a reduction to the general fund revenues, and it'll go to road and bridge. So that's just a decision of the court. But at this point, you have more expenditures than necessary to cover the cost of transferring those funds.
Right. It would seem logical that if you say that the violations occurred on our roadways, that the money will go back into the roadways.
Correct. And we work on getting the information to the court.
Okay. Your budget is built on this transfer back in.
Correct. Oh, it is?
So, yes.
Okay.
So if you, whether you put the money into general fund and then use a portion of general fund to help supplement road and bridge operations, since we no longer have that direct revenue into Road and Bridge, you will then have to make up the shortfall wherever you take the funding from. So we are already budgeted based on this revenue.
So it's going to general fund and then you transfer it back.
Yes, sir. It goes into general fund is what this action is to do. And we built our budget based on this coming into general fund.
Or is it in the same amount or lesser?
The funds are in the general fund. The question is, we don't have the exact amount of how much of the revenue that came in as fines were for road violations. That's been the challenge right there. But these funds were collected in the general fund. They are part of the 19 budget. This is just a formality to comply with statutory requirements.
In preparation for the future, you'll be able to separate that out?
That's our goal. We will work with the budget and policy and the IT department on developing a means to come up with this information.
Okay, on that basis, I'll go along with it at this time, but I'd like to see what it looks like.
Commissioner
Thank you.
Bettis.
Aye.
Commissioner Leon.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion carries. Judge, we need to take the items pulled from the consent agenda. We have item number 4B from the consent agenda to approve and authorize the county judge to sign the agreement regarding mutual cooperation and the agreement regarding mutual cooperation regarding the Shooting Victims County Memorial Project with the El Paso Community Foundation regarding one or more possible memorials intended to be located in Escarate Park and other memorials located throughout the El Paso County region to honor and remember the victims of the mass shooting in El Paso, Texas on August 3rd, 2019.
Commissioner Leon?
Judge, Commissioners, the reason I pulled it is just to receive some information rather than just being on the consent. So Betsy, can you just fill us in on where we're at up to this date?
Sure. So this item is basically asking for the approval of two agreements. One is for region-wide memorial fundraising that the Community Foundation will be doing, and that those funds would be available to the city or other partners who may create their own memorial. So that's one of the agreements. The second agreement is for donations specifically for a county memorial. I believe that I don't have Norma here right now to get the most recent update, but I believe Judge Samaniego, you've been working with the County Parks Department about a memorial. I've also shared some information with the County Parks Department about memorial guidelines and recommendations, and some of the information from places where there are memorials. What's interesting is out of the volume, unfortunately, high volume of mass shooting incidents, there's only a few places that actually have a memorial because they have been so controversial and so emotional in trying to set them up. They haven't been able to agree on where to have it, what to have. So we've shared that information that we do have on memorials that have been developed, and other information about considerations to take into account, such as being able to maintain the memorial, where it's located, how it can create re-traumatization if it's not in a location where people seek it out, the need to have quiet reflection areas. So we've been going through that level of information, but these agreements will allow us to accept donations for the actual construction.
Yeah, this is not, we had promised to, come back and talk to the commissioners. This one is just allowing us to have, like the wall was an example that where we went directly. This one is where we're gonna allow the foundation to take any donations. So this one in particular is not about the particulars of the memorial, but just accepting the money through the foundation, and then we would utilize that money.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not in the details of, that one we would come back to the commissioners to have that discussion.
And if I may, Commissioner Leon, even if at some point the court decided, and I'm just throwing out possibilities. If the court decided that it wanted to go and use the funding to also help with the current victims memorial at the Rose Garden that the DA talked about, I do not believe you're restricted in any way, and Christina can speak to this, she worked with her attorneys, but I think this left us flexible as far as using the funding for memorials.
Okay, that's good to hear, and I appreciate that information you just gave the court. I was unaware of the difficulties that other areas have had in establishing these memorials. But I also want to make sure that we are cooperating with other entities that are going in the same direction.
Yes, sir. And this just memorializes that relationship with the Community Foundation, acknowledges that. It is a broad, these two agreements are broad in scope. And as if the court also recalls, when this item was discussed, we had Mr. Pearson here from the Community Foundation. In addition to going down the road of partnering with the Community Foundation and collecting those funds and acknowledging a county memorial as well as this regional concept, the Commissioners Court also had voted to accept its own donations pursuant to the provisions in the local government code that allow the Commissioners Court to do so. So there is that flexibility.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the information.
Absolutely. Thank you, Commissioner.
I'd like to add one more thing to what I've noticed about the Community Foundation. They may get donations that aren't in the form of cash for the construction. So each foundation has already received a donation that they wanted to go to something specific related to the response to the event. And so they help coordinate. So for example, someone may want to donate funding to do a specific event for the grand opening of the memorial. And the Community Foundation would help. And it might be a donation of, we want to buy all the food for a kickoff event. And the Community Foundation would help coordinate that. And they then also provide all the receipts and the tax credit information, the tax write-off information to organizations that do go through them.
Thank you, Betsy.
Yes, sir.
Judge.
Sir, Commissioner Robinson?
Are we still on target? I thought we said November was our target time frame.
I know they've been out last week, so we're scheduled to meet with Veronica and Lydia sometime this week, and then I'll give you that update.
Okay, so we still are shooting for November?
Yes.
Okay.
But let's see where they're at and what their thoughts are.
Okay.
Thank you.
Make a motion to approve?
Second?
Commissioner Perez?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Judge Samaniego?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item number 4K, approve and authorize the county judge to sign the maintenance and support agreement for the hosting of epcountyvotes.com between the County of El Paso and Impulse Development LLC, doing business as Hello Amigo. Funding will be allocated into General Fund ITD Maintenance and Repair Software from fiscal year 2020 budget adoption. Contract number 2019-0686.
Thank you, Caesar. Judge, Commissioners, the reason I brought this up is, again, Hello Amigo is a great company. They're involved in my re-election campaign, so I just wanted to make sure in all, for the transparency, that we put this up for vote.
For motion?
Second?
Commissioner Perez?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon?
Gonna abstain?
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Judge Samaniego?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
This brings us back to item number 9, Judiciary and Corrections. Approve and authorize the county judge to accept the 65th District Protective Order Court Grant Award funded by the Office of the Governor Criminal Justice Division in the amount of $159,679 with a county match of $65,678.87 for a total project amount of $225,357.87 for the grant period beginning September 1st, 2019 through August 31st, 2020. Contract number 2019-0717.
Morning, County Judge, Commissioners.
Morning.
Jose Gonzalez, Associate Judge for the 65th District Protective Order Court, here requesting a vote to accept the money that was awarded by the Governor's Office for two positions that we have in our court. This is the 11th year of funding for the Protective Order Court, and we're getting pretty much the same amount of money this year that we received yesterday from grant funding. So again, we're asking for the court to accept those monies. I think most of you are familiar with the Protective Order Court. I'd be happy to answer any questions about it, but I think I've been here several times to talk about the court.
Vote to approve.
Second?
Commissioner Perez?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Judge Samaniego?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item number 10, approve and authorize the county judge to sign the interlocal agreement for the provision of multisystemic therapy services between El Paso County and El Paso MHMR, doing business as Emergence Health Network, for children and adolescents under the care of a referring agency, and who may be candidates for mental health therapy from October 1st, 2019 through September 30th, 2020, in an amount not to exceed $166,650. Funding is available in General Fund, JPD Professional Services General. Contract number 2019-0370.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Good
My name
morning.
is Janelle Morgan. I'm the Director of Probation Services at Juvenile Probation. Today, we have for you an interlocal agreement between the Juvenile Probation Department and Emergence Health Network for multisystemic therapy, or MST services. MST services are evidence-based services where they work intensively in the homes with the youth and families to look at what are those drivers for delinquency. So these services are important for our department to be able to get kids to change their behaviors. Any questions?
Commissioner Stout, any comments?
It's a great program, and I'm glad that EHN is expanding their services.
Second.
Commissioner Perez?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Judge Samaniego?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Item number 11, litigation, justice, and law enforcement. Discuss and take appropriate action to waive the entrance fee to Ascarate Park and use of the Ascarate Pavilion for the 13th annual 5-mile walk for victims of crime on Sunday, November 3rd, 2019, from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m.
I believe the district attorney wants to be here for this item. Let me see if that's them. Nope. Can we just move
later.
on and come back to this item, please?
Item number 12, health and social services. Approve and authorize the county judge to sign contract amendment number 1 and related documents with the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs, amending the Colonia Self-Help Center Program grant, increasing the contract by $350,000, bringing the total grant contract amount to $1,050,000. Funds will be deposited in special grant, Colonia Self-Help 19 Federal Reserve GRST. No cash match is required. Contract number 2019-0710.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Diana Marroquin, Program Manager with the Community Services Department. I am requesting approval of Contract Amendment 1 between the County of El Paso and the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs Colonia Self-Help Center Grant Program. The modifications to this grant is to include additional funding totaling $350,000, increasing the contract amount from $700,000 to $1,050,000. These additional funds will allow us to increase program services in the Colonias of Agua Dulce Units 1 and 3, Horizon View Estates Unit 17, and Westway Units 1 and 3, with an approximate combined population of 4,574. Funds will be utilized for various program activities that include public services, administrative-related expenditures, with the majority of funding going to our housing programs.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Commissioner Pettis.
Aye.
Commissioner Leon.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Irene.
Item number 13, purchasing.
Betsy, can we go back to? Oh, okay. I saw Claudia back there, so I thought maybe. Okay. Thank you, Deborah.
Item number 13, purchasing. Approve and authorize the purchasing agent to reject all responses and close bid 19029, recovery and transportation of deceased to the Office of the Medical Examiners, and rebid.
Deborah Correjo-Troll, County Purchasing Agent. In this case, I'm requesting permission to reject all the responses and rebid. As you can see, we only received one response. Normally, when we received one response under the older format of how things were done, there was simply a need to justify that one response. In response to what Commissioners Courts requested, we actually now do a market-based research on the item, including checking CPI to see if the price is within Consumer Price Index, checking other counties, checking other agencies that might have these contracts. That market research showed that this one bid was about 34% higher than the current bid. Now, that wasn't really out of line with some of the contracts we were finding, which were done later, so costs have increased. However, the department, after reading it, thinks that if they modify the specs in a small way, they might be able to not only garner an additional bid, but maybe have some more cost controls built in.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Commissioner Pettis.
Aye.
Commissioner Leon.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 14, amend the award of RFP 19-011, secure and/or staff secure residential treatment services for post-adjudicated youth, AdCare Youth Corporation, to the pool of qualified vendors for as-needed residential treatment. Purchasing approved on the original recommendation on July 16, 2019.
Deborah Correjo-Troll, County Purchasing Agent. In this case, I'm asking you to help me and authorize me to correct an error that was made when I presented to you on July the 22nd. I presented a pool of authorized vendors that would be allowed to do residential treatment for our youth clients, and I inadvertently left off one of the vendors because they did remove 2 of their facilities from the consideration pool, but I accidentally took all 4 of their facilities off. So we would like to amend the original award to include the 2 facilities under the name Care Youth Corporation. And we've amended the records inside purchasing to show that they were originally scored and they were originally treated with all the due diligence as the others. It was a clerical error.
So move.
Second?
Commissioner Pettis.
Aye.
Commissioner Leon.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Deborah, if you don't mind, we go back to item 11, and then you can come back after
No, that's fine.
Mr. Esparza? Okay.
Item number 11 from Litigation, Justice, and Law Enforcement, discuss and take appropriate action to waive the entrance fee to Ascarate Park and use of the Ascarate Pavilion for the 13th Annual 5-Mile Walk for Victims of Crime on Sunday, November 3rd, 2019, from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Good morning. I'm Jaime Esparza. I'm your district attorney. I'm glad to have this opportunity to talk to you about our Victims Walk. So let me just give you a little bit of history. You all have always been supportive. We have, for about the last 13 years, this will be our 13th walk, we have been walking in order to increase the voice of victims of crime in our community. So 13 years ago, we walked across El Paso, which was about a 26-mile walk. We did that for several years, and then we got older and wiser, and we made it 10 miles. And we've been walking from the courthouse to the Reading Memorial Garden, where we have our Crime Victims Memorial. And we've been doing that for quite a few years. So we've been doing it for a long time, and the walk has increased in numbers. So last year we had 450. This year, if all things had been normal, we might have gone to 500 people, and we would walk with the help of the El Paso Police Department, the Sheriff's Department, and others from here all the way down to the Reading Memorial Garden. And so they would provide the security and all that's necessary for us to do that. But this year, as a result of the shooting on August 3rd, I anticipate that the walk is going to draw a lot more people. You will start to hear lots more news and advertising regarding the walk. The walk has always been free. We've always provided those participants with a T-shirt, and we will do that again this year. So we have been in the process of organizing the walk with the help of the El Paso Municipal Police Officers Association, the Sheriff's Officers Association, the Sheriff's Department, the El Paso Police Department, and the El Paso Fire Department, and Adult Probation, which I think is Community and something Services. Maggie will kill me for not getting that right, but anyway. And they have all contributed to helping us organize this. We could get as many as 2,500 people who walk. It's just too hard to say, right? The turnout for these events since the tragedy has been pretty enormous. And it is a free event, and it's one way for the community to express their thoughts and their feelings over, the shooting. I would want to tell you that we walk for all victims of crime. And so in the walk, we will get people, not just people who want to walk on behalf of for crime victims, maybe as the result of the shooting on August 3rd, but for also others. And I'd be happy to send you all an email where about 2 or 3 years ago, the county made a video of the walk. So you could get a feel for who walks. And many of the people that walk have lost loved ones or have had people who were severely injured. And they have T-shirts made in remembrance of the persons that they lost. And it has really developed for us, the walk has really developed as one of our major projects. We do 2 things that are really sort of in the community regarding crime victims. We'll do this in November, and then we'll do another one in April when we read the names of all the crime victims who have lost their lives to crime at the Reading Memorial Garden. There are about 1,600 names on that memorial. We do it every April. We read their names, and then we ring a bell in their honor. We do it all 1,600 times. The reason I'm telling you that is that this November 3rd will be our 13th annual Crime Victims Walk. We've shortened it because we think there might be a lot more people who participate, as many as, we're just guessing, it could be not as many as 2,500, could be more, but we're trying to prepare ourselves. And so instead of walking from the courthouse to the Reading Memorial Garden, which is 10 miles, we would like to start at Escalante Park, come out of the park, make a right on Delta, go over the bridge, make a right on, I think that's North Loop, go down North Loop till we get to Carolina, go up Carolina, make a left on the Yarborough, and then the Memorial Reading Garden is about right there. So it's a 5-mile walk. So the reason I'm here is to ask you all to waive the fee for the entrance to the park from, I think it's 6 a.m. to 1:00 p.m. on Sunday at the park. If we were to take the fee, it would take us too long to process the numbers we're thinking of who would come in. Plus, our walk has always been free, and we would like you all to waive that fee. We will. You'll hear on Thursday, we're going to have a press conference regarding the walk, and what you'll hear is that, if I had been, we're still working on it, but we're very close to having the design of the T-shirt, but we'll have it ready for Thursday. But our message this year is on the path to healing. We certainly are walking, remembering what happened at the Walmart, but in the same breath, because this is what I do for a living, we are also walking, remembering all victims of crime, especially those who have lost their life, which is many. And this year has, besides what's happened at Walmart, I could go down the list of the people who have lost their life to crime, Just one good example is the detention officer who just recently lost his life to a drunk driver. We just tried that case, the Joel Garcia case. There were 3 victims there who lost their life. Deputy Herrera, in his doing his job, protecting us, lost his life. All those, we walked for all of those, plus the tragedy at Walmart. And so you'll hear a lot more this Thursday, but one of the things I wanted to announce on Thursday is that you all would waive the fee on that Sunday. We will be picking up, what we'll do is have packets, people register, so we'll have an idea of how many are coming, and they can pick up their T-shirts on Thursday and Friday, and we're going to do it there at the Family Youth Service Center, which is right next to JPD, which I think will become, it won't be called this, but will become what we would have thought of as your resilience center, where people could come for help, which I think is an excellent part of adding to the education in our community so that people will know where to come, where to go if they're having issues regarding their mental health as a result of the tragedy on August 3rd. Happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Esparza, I think it's an amazing event, and I thank you for thinking of Escarate. It's become a hub now. We've been to several walks, and people are gathering there, so it actually adds to this excitement of having Escarate being that place, and so I think it's going to be a great event. I think there will be more than 2,500. I know that a lot of people in the community are trying to figure out what to do and sort of exercise some of that emotion that they have about what happened. So I think it's going to be a great event, very timely event. And so I wish you the best of luck on this one, but it's going to be great.
I'm pleased that it works. We've been doing this, as I tell you, our message has been clear for many years that crime victims need a voice, not just a helping hand as a result of how they've been injured or those loved ones who've lost their lives, but also they need a voice in this courthouse. Right. So when we set cases for trial and cases are continued, or it takes us years to go to trial, sometimes there's a reason, and sometimes those cases should go to trial.
Absolutely.
Move to approve.
Judge. Second. Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Robinson?
Mr. DA, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
How do you defray the cost for your T-shirts?
We are, my office is contributing. I'm happy to tell you, because I confirmed this morning, Sheriff Wiles from his is contributing from their budget $10,000. You'll see $5,000 from my budget, from our confiscated funds. The El Paso Municipal Police Officers is contributing, so are the firemen, and so are the Sheriff's Association. Plus, we have other sponsors.
That's excellent.
You can put me down as a sponsor.
I will. Just so you know, because I have to tell every sponsor, we don't list our sponsors on our T-shirts, just so you know. Okay?
It's okay. Don't worry about that.
Because we are walking, the sole purpose for our walk these many years has been to recognize that there are victims of crime in our community, that they need our assistance and our help in our community and in our courthouse. And so that's really where we're focused.
Your April event that I attended, unbelievable. I mean, and you can see the healing process as people get together and share their stories. So thank you for doing that. It was very impressed with the results.
Well, just I think I heard while I was busy this morning that you all were talking about your memorial. I don't mean to weigh in on that issue, but we are working on we are very lucky in this community that this community has recognized the importance of the voice of crime victims and remembering crime victims. And that Reading Memorial Garden is especially, that park is designated for crime victims. And so when the city allowed that property to be used that way, they also had the memorial that we have there now. But if you've been there recently, you'll see that the 1,600 names have almost consumed the memorial. So we are looking for a way to expand the memorial that would complement the existing memorial and complement the park. And so maybe next budget year, when you're thinking about that, we will be needing assistance. I'll be asking for the city as well, because It's a very nice area. It's between the Judge Marcus Library and the Yucca Park, and it sits quietly there. And, you know, when we first started, we used to have graffiti issues, but now I think the people, the young or old, have respected that particular area, and it's a huge thing. I know just from around the state, there are very few parks like that, and especially there are few parks so close to the center of town. So we don't have to go to the outskirts of town to find our park. This one is right in the center of town, just across the street, basically, from Bel Air High School.
Yeah, very nice. Thank you.
I'll be in touch, Commissioner.
I know you will.
Okay.
Commissioner Pettis.
Aye.
Commissioner Leon.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And the last thing I would tell you is that I really appreciate the help of your staff, especially Betsy. She's been really good to us. And the people out at the park have been excellent. They gave us a tour, they showed us the possibilities, and they've just been really helpful in making sure that the park accommodates our project.
Thank you. Norma,
you.
Veronica, thank you for helping out.
Betsy.
And Betsy.
Item number 15, approve and authorize the recommendation of as-needed interpretation, translation, and transcription services for the County of El Paso using Department of Information Resources Contract DIR TSO 4150, awarded to Universe Technical Translation Incorporated of Houston, Texas. Purchasing approved on September 23rd, 2019. Funding is available in multiple departmental accounts.
Deborah Correjo, County Purchasing Agent. Oh, Deborah Correjo Troll, County Purchasing Agent. I'm still getting used to it. In this case, I'd like for you to allow me to put into place, through use of the State of Texas Department of Information Resource Cooperative, a contract for translation services. This is a long-term contract that they have. What it allows for the county to do, and if you notice, this is part of a push to put county-wide contracts in place, it allows our departments to have some rapid response capabilities by having already pre-approved services in place. And if you approve this, there's a detailed price list, so you will see this is a comprehensive type of contract.
Thank you.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Pettis.
Aye.
Commissioner Leon.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 16, approve and authorize the asbestos abatement services for Ascarte Golf Course Building and former Animal Shelter Building 1, 2, and 5, using Region 19 Contract 187295, awarded to Environment Reconditioning Incorporated, Southwest Abatement Incorporated of El Paso, Texas, in the amount of $69,836.75. Purchasing approved on September 23rd, 2019. Funding is available in CIP 18 Public Works renovations and CP Ascarte Park Improvements 07 renovations.
Deborah Correjo Troll, County Purchasing Agent. Every time we do a demolition, it is required that the company check for the need for asbestos abatement. And in the case of tearing down the golf building and the 3 animal service buildings, asbestos abatement was needed. Luckily, the Region 19 contract exists, and there's a local El Paso firm that is already contracted under pricing, and they've given us the attached quote. If you approve this, you will be allowing the asbestos abatement that will allow the demolition to continue.
Approve.
Second.
Commissioner Pettis.
Aye.
Commissioner Leon has stepped out of the meeting. Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Deborah.
Item number 17, grant applications. Approve the submission of county grant applications as listed and described. If awarded, all grant award agreements will be brought back to the Commissioners Court for final acceptance and approval. Item number 17, approve and authorize the El Paso Veterans Treatment Court Program to apply for the Texas Veterans Commission Fund for Veterans Assistance 2020 through 2021 Veterans Treatment Court Grant in the amount of $300,000 for the grant cycle beginning July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021. No county match is required.
Greetings.
Good
How are y'all
morning, Sylvia.
doing?
Real good.
Almost done. I'm Sylvia Serna, Veterans Program Director, and just like he said, we're here requesting if you'll allow us to apply. And this grant is for $300,000. It would cover 3 full-time employees and a part-time position. Any questions?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Pettis.
Aye.
Leon is absent. Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank all your staff for all they do. Thank you.
Item number 18, Budget and Finance. We do have a correction to read from the Budget and Fiscal Policy Director. Item number 18 should read, approve amendment number 51 to the County of El Paso's 2018-2019 operating budget. This budgetary amendment will increase enterprise by $59,664, increase grants by $3,105,318.21, thus increasing the overall budget of $457,855,102.74 to $461,020,084.95.
Good morning, Judge Commissioners. Wally Hargrove from the Office of Budget and Fiscal Policy. We sent you the backup with last week's highlight, but I am asking to amend this week's amendment by the addition of 2 more grants totaling $659,033. Last week, you approved the Essential Services Grant for the Sila Vista response. So I'm adding or requesting that you allow me to add $271,317 for the Essential Service 2019 grant. That's going to cover overtime and related fringe benefits that have already been incurred that will be reimbursed for. Additionally, it'll cover operating expenses for $111,000 and a little over $84,000 of travel cost related to event investigations. That is a state-funded program. Also adding $387,716 for the SAMHSA grant for the DWI drug court. That is a federal grant. It's about $80,000 of which is for salary and fringe benefits. Majority of the balance is for contract services for drug and substance abuse testing and $15,000 in medical cost. We would ask that you allow us to amend the budget by the additional increase of $659,033. The backup has been amended and the detail has been sent to your court clerk. Would ask for your favorable consideration.
Move to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Pettis.
Aye.
Commissioner Leon.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Brings us to executive session, item number 19. Commissioners Court will now recess into executive session to discuss items 19A through 19C pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071, 551.074, and 551.072. Commissioners Court will reconvene to take official action.
Thank you.
The Escarate Golf Course has a new number. You can now call the Pro Shop for daily specials and tee time information at 915-771-2392.
The County of El Paso Public Works Department is offering sandbags at no cost or requirements to the public. The sandbags are outside of the facilities and are available 24 hours a day. The location of the county facilities are the following: the Road and Bridge Fabens Warehouse, located at 1331 North Fabens Street in Fabens, Texas, 79838. The Road and Bridge Canutillo Warehouse, located at 191 Canutillo Avenue in Canutillo, Texas, 79835. And the Road and Bridge Montana Warehouse, located at 14698 Van Lane, El Paso, Texas, 79938. Don't wait in line, pay online. Visit the Financial Recovery Division website at http://www.epcounty.com/budget/financialrecovery.htm to make your payments online or find out more about our kiosk locations. We now accept payments on misdemeanor, felony, and justice of the peace cases.
You can now watch Commissioners Court meetings on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and search for El Paso County Commissioners or El Paso County, Texas. Subscribe to our channels to see our latest videos.
Did you know the County of El Paso's Purchasing Department is responsible for ensuring that all items and services needed by various county departments are purchased in the manner required by the state of Texas? Whether through formal sealed bids or smaller dollar quotations, the county purchasing team is dedicated to finding the best contracting return on your taxpayer dollars. Additionally, the purchasing department is responsible for the tracking of inventory within the county and properly disposing surplus through public auctions. For questions about how to become a vendor and compete for county contracts, or to learn more about public auctions, please contact us at telephone number 915-546-2048.
The 346 District Court Judge Angie Juarez Barrid started the El Paso Veterans Treatment Court program in 2012 for veterans and active service members that have been arrested and charged with a felony or misdemeanor criminal offense. To be considered for the specialty court, the statutory criteria includes be a veteran or current member of the United States Armed Forces, including a member of the Reserves, National Guard, or State Guard, and suffer from a brain injury, mental illness, or mental disorder, including PTSD, or be a victim of military sexual trauma, all occurring or resulting from military service. Call Sylvia Serna, Veterans Program Director, at 915-546-2119, or email her at sserna@epcounty.com for any information.
Did you know that the County of El Paso's fixed asset control and inventory disposal is handled through the Purchasing Department? Throughout the course of each business year, the county holds live public auctions to dispose of aged equipment, vehicles, furniture, and other items that are no longer needed. To find out about upcoming auctions or to learn more about the county's inventory disposal process, contact the Purchasing Department at telephone number 915-546-2048. The Escarate Golf Course has a new number. You can now call the Pro Shop for daily specials and tea time information at 915-771-2392.
The County of El Paso Public Works Department is offering sandbags at no cost or requirements to the public. The sandbags are outside of the facilities and are available 24 hours a day. The location of the county facilities are the following: the Road and Bridge Fabens Warehouse, located at 1331 North Fabens Street in Fabens, Texas, 79838. The Road and Bridge Canutillo Warehouse, located at 191 Canutillo Avenue in Canutillo, Texas, 79835. And the Road and Bridge Montana Warehouse, located at 14698 Van Lane, El Paso, Texas, 79938.
Don't wait in line, pay online. Visit the Financial Recovery Division website at http://www.epcounty.com/budget/financialrecovery.htm to make your payments online or find out more about our kiosk locations. We now accept payments on misdemeanor, felony, and justice of the peace cases.
You can now watch Commissioners Court meetings on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and search for El Paso County Commissioners or El Paso County, Texas. Subscribe to our channels to see our latest videos.
Did you know the County of El Paso's Purchasing Department is responsible for ensuring that all items and services needed by various county departments are purchased in the manner required by the state of Texas? Whether through formal sealed bids or smaller dollar quotations, the county purchasing team is dedicated to finding the best contracting return on your taxpayer dollars. Additionally, the Purchasing Department is responsible for the tracking of inventory within the county and properly disposing surplus through public auctions. For questions about how to become a vendor and compete for county contracts, or to learn more about public auctions, please contact us at telephone number 915-546-2048.
The 346th District Court Judge Angie Juarez Barrid started the El Paso Veterans Treatment Court program in 2012 for veterans and active service members that have been arrested and charged with a felony or misdemeanor criminal offense. To be considered for the specialty court, the statutory criteria includes be a veteran or current member of the United States Armed Forces, including a member of the Reserves, National Guard, or State Guard, and suffer from a brain injury, mental illness, or mental disorder, including PTSD, or be a victim of military sexual trauma, all occurring or resulting from military service. Call Sylvia Serna, Veterans Program Director, at 915-546-2119, or email her at sserna@epcounty.com for any information.
Did you know that the County of El Paso's fixed asset control and inventory disposal is handled through the Purchasing Department? Throughout the course of each business year, the county holds live public auctions to dispose of aged equipment, vehicles, furniture, and other items that are no longer needed. To find out about upcoming auctions or to learn more about the county's inventory disposal process, contact the Purchasing Department at telephone number 915-546-2048.
Commissioners Court has reconvened into regular open session. Item number 20, discuss and take appropriate action to authorize the purchase of property within Block 31, San Elizario Grant, El Paso County, Texas, and authorize the county judge and purchasing agent or other designee to execute all documents required for the purchase and closing.
Good afternoon, County Judge Commissioners. Christina Sanchez, Assistant County Attorney. The recommendation is a motion to approve on this item.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner Bettis is absent. Commissioner Leon.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Judge Samaniego. Motion carries. And that's all our items for today, Judge.
Thank you.
Betsy, didn't
This
you say
concludes today's meeting at 12:52 p.m.
11:55?